Okie dokie. It is 5 after. I think we are good to get started. I'd like to thank everybody for coming to meet with Michelle and Rachel from Humanware to talk about all things Brailliant and Monarch. Take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, Steve. Good afternoon and good morning to some of you. I'm glad to be here. Glad to see you guys here as well. Today, we're definitely going to be talking about Braille displays, and we've basically kind of splitted the presentation into two arrays of Braille displays we want to talk about. So the first one, of course, is the Brailliant BIX series. That includes the BI 40X, 20X, and the Mantis Q40. And the second one is the Monarch. I put the Monarch in the Braille display, but you'll understand what I mean by that once we get to that part of the presentation. We will definitely look into the different solution and of all of these devices. What are some of the key differentiators as well in terms of the Brailliant devices? And of course, we definitely want to touch on what is the Monarch, what does it do? Quick, a quick slide or two on EBRF. I'm not sure if some of you were at the Canadian Braille Literacy Conference last Friday, but Willow Free did a very good presentation on explaining what EBRF is all about, what's coming down. So I'll just touch back on that as well. And then Rachel will take us into some demonstration of both Braille display. I think she's doing the Braille display. She'll be working with the BI 40X and showing you a little bit of some of the new things that we can do with it. And she'll do the same thing with the Monarch before we go into Q&A. So without any delay, let's start with the presentation here. And by all means, if you have any question, raise your hand. And Steve, as I mentioned, I don't see the my Zoom my Zoom screen, unfortunately. So if there's any questions, stop me along the way, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Or you can keep it till the end of the presentation, and then Rachel and I will definitely leave some time to answer question. So when we're looking at Braille display, the first question that we should ask ourselves is why a Braille display? Understanding that, of course, with the technology, the changing technology, the growing and how fast the technology is growing, so the needs of Braille users are growing as well. So it's just a question of understanding what is out there, how does it does it answer the need, my need, or does it answer the need for the task that is set for me? So Braille displays were designed and are designed to provide good access to mainstream operating systems such as VoiceOver, NVDA, JAWS. So we're really looking at screen readers and working as conventional Braille displays are working as what I call the slave keyboard for these mainstream operating system. When I say slave is, what I mean by that is you've got a Braille input, Braille output, but you need to be connected to your smart technology to get the full spectrum and being able to use the conventional or some of the current Braille display on the market. Really allows as well the Braille access. So being able to get access to documents, spreadsheet, being able to navigate a website, getting access to the information using Braille entry keys, and of course, Braille displays for the output. It allows as well the access to communication. So whether you need to write up a document, you're able to use a computer, connect to your computer, use your Braille skills, or even if you're just connected to your smartphone, being able to get access to the note application or even the text application, being able to reply with friends or even colleagues from work in instant messaging. It's also being able to give access to third-party application, Braille access to third-party application, and getting access to those mainstream application that in most cases were designed for the sighted world. It also has allowing you to transition to the workplace environment. What I mean by that is especially in the schools, so there's a lot of different Braille learning devices while you're going K to 12, or even post-secondary, university and colleges. But once you hit the marketplace, the Braille display becomes probably a most sought type of Braille communication device, because you will be working, in most cases, users will be working with mainstream technology such as Windows computer, once again, Apple devices, and those Braille displays allow them to use their Braille skills that they develop over time to be more proficient and more effective in their related work. So, oh, the Brailliant BI, I'm missing an X here, but the Brailliant BI series, basically, so it was a way for us to introduce and basically evolve our Brailliant. For those of you who are familiar with all our Braille displays, so we've been manufacturing Braille displays for quite some years, and of course, the evolution of these devices amounted to what we now know as the BI 40X and the BI 20X, which is the new series of the Brailliant Braille displays that we manufacturing and put on the market. I'm not mentioning Mantis here, but we'll definitely talk a little bit about this, because Mantis kind of mimics what we'll be seeing and talking about here in the Brailliant slides. It's just a little bit of a different footprint and a different form factor as well. Oops. For some reason, my slide is not changing. There we go. Okay, so what is the Brailliant BIX series? As I mentioned, we've been manufacturing Braille displays for many, many years. There's been many evolutions. So the Brailliant itself has been on the market for over 8 years now, and we kept the name because it was a well-known name when we introduced it, and we wanted to just simply show people that we kept the same characteristic of the Brailliant devices with the BIX series, and wanted to basically add more features to the device, making it a bit more proficient and more efficient as well, whether you're in education or in the workplace. So the X stands for 10 years, which means it's a 10th anniversary of the Brailliant. I said 8, but sorry, it's 10 years. And of course, we wanted to make sure people could relate to the name of the Brailliant based on the quality of the device, the sturdiness, the quality and crispness of the Braille quality of the Braille dots that we use on the Braille display. It is one of the most connected in the market. One of the first one and one of the most connected when we're talking about refreshable Braille display. So the Brailliant BIX series for the 40, the 20X, and even the Mantis are not only the Braille displays to mainstream technology or operating system, but they have built-in intelligence in it so that they can be used as a standalone device, not having to be connected every single time to your smart technology. Keeping in mind, guys, we're not talking about a note taker here. We're talking about intelligence feature using what we call our Keysoft Lite. So if you're familiar with our Braille Note Touch, Braille Note devices, or note taker devices, whether it was the Empower, the Apex, Humanware was well known to have developed a software called Keysoft that made each of these devices so easy to use, so user-friendly. So we wanted to use a kind of a toned-down version of Keysoft, which we called Keysoft Lite, to embed into these new Brailliant refreshable Braille display, once again, so that people could relate not only to the form factor of the hardware, but also the software built in to each of these devices. One of the things we also wanted to create by adding intelligence or adding application as a standalone for the Braille displays was really to create a user experience, really trying to use an ecosystem very similar to, I guess, to the Apple ecosystem, so that people could relate not only to the quality of the device, but also have an intuitive interface that would promote familiarization along some of the Humanware well-established devices or even Keysoft application, and also ensure the continuity of experience to anyone who has previously used Keysoft or Keysoft devices. So the whole idea is really here to kind of mimic a little bit of the experience, or bring the experience and the technology we've developed over the years into a very easy to use, user-friendly type of devices. by making it even more powerful than what the users were accustomed to when we were looking at conventional Braille display in the marketplace. So I mentioned intelligent a couple of times. So we say intelligent Braille displays. Of course, what do I mean by that? Of course, Keysoft Lite is, for those of you familiar as well, it is a well-known operating system for our note taker devices. So it is a familiar environment and Braille-centric application. Whether you're navigating the menu of the devices or you're into the you're connecting it as a Braille terminal, intuitiveness such as first letter navigation, for example, is built into these new devices. Once again, fairly new, very unique in the marketplace because conventional Braille displays did not offer these type of application or these type of benefit. It will give you access to a variety of different features, such as online library. There's a built-in translator for content creation, multiple connection to computers and tablets. So of course, we're using more mainstream type of technology for the connectivity, whether it's Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, allowing you to connect multiple peripherals to the device to be, once again, more efficient and more proactive in your day-to-day activities, whether it's work-related or even if it's just school-related as well. Access to common type of document. So in the device itself, there's some features built in giving you access to giving you access, not having you being connected at all times. So some of these applications are there's what we call keypad. Remember, those of you who are familiar with our Keysoft, everything starts with key. So there's keypad as an application, KeyCalc, so it gives you access to a calculator. The keypad is really an editing application, allowing you to create open existing document, editing some document, without having to be connected to your mainstream operating system, whether it's your computer or your smartphone. There is a terminal mode as well to support the new Braille HID standard. So whether you're connected to screen readers such as NVDA Joyce or VoiceOver, the Braille terminal, as I said, was designed to allow you to use use your Braille in, Braille out skills to run those operating system environments. There's a file manager as well called KeyFile that will allow you to create folder. So whether you're importing folders from your mainstream technology to the device, you'll be able to open them up and then do some editing, especially if you have document, allowing you to create or even delete some of these different folder. And of course, we wanted to have our Victor Reader application built into the device, allowing you to listen to your favorite book search, library, download books and listen to your book, whether you're on the go at home or at work. As I mentioned, some of the Keysoft navigation that people are used to, which is your backspace, your space, the different thumb keys. I didn't go through the device itself, but there's thumb keys in the front of the unit. You'll see when Rachel does a demonstration, allowing you to navigate your menu or even within your document. And of course, you've got your first letter navigation, which is what Humanware is well known for when they designed the Keysoft operating system. Some of the differences between these three devices. I mentioned that there is a Brailliant BI40X, which is a 440 Braille cell display. There's a 20X, which once again, the number stands for the amount or the different Braille cells that group that comes with the device. So you've got a 40 cell Braille display, a 20 cell, and then you've got the Mantis Q40. The Mantis is a 40 cell Braille display, but instead of using a Braille keyboard, what we call a Perkins style Braille, conventional Braille keyboard, it's using a QWERTY keyboard. It really makes the device interesting because people actually can use the device as a standalone, and of course, as a Braille terminal. That's what it was designed for, but also allowing them to use it if they prefer to use a regular QWERTY keyboard. And it is a full-blown QWERTY keyboard built in onto the unit. It's a little bit bulkier in size when we're comparing it to the Brailliant BI40 and the BI20. However, it gives that flexibility for users, especially in the marketplace, that are accustomed to using keyboard to use the Braille this Braille display with a QWERTY keyboard. It does have there is ways as well to convert some of the keys to mimic Braille keyboards. Only though when you're working as a standalone, you're working with the Mantis as a standalone device. And of course, when you open up, let's say, an editing document to create the document or editing document. So there's ways for you to create that virtual Braille keys. However, it is designed for people that prefer to use a virtual, not a virtual, sorry, a real QWERTY keyboard over a Braille keyboard. So some of the differences, we're getting a little bit in the specs here, but hardware-wise, the BI40X comes with a protective case. It has 32 gigabyte of internal storage. It has stereo speakers, so there are 2 speakers on each side of the Braille entry keys. And it's got an headphone jack, of course, for people who prefer to use a corded or anyone wants to connect to external speakers. You will have the command keys on each side of the Braille display. And there's a built-in microphone as well. So if you want to dictate some notes, you're able to do so. And it is using Bluetooth 5. Once again, latest technology or mainstream technology, Bluetooth 5, Wi-Fi 2.4, and 5 gigahertz as well. On the software side, as we talked about, mentioned, it has the Keysoft Lite built in, exam mode, and of course the menu, all of the menu can be customizable for the user preferences. So this is pretty much my benchmark when we're looking at Braille display, because it has a larger Braille display as well. So of course, much more information on the Braille display as you're reading or going through documents. However, if you're looking for something more portable or on the go, the Brailliant BI20X really offers you that flexibility. There's a little bit of differences because it's smaller in size. There's a little bit of differences between the 20X and the 40X. Some of the difference is really the internal storage. So it's got a 16 gigabyte internal storage, but it does have an SD card inlet and also USB stick inlet as well to add more memory or to be able to save documentation to those. It doesn't have a stereo speaker, so it only has one speaker, but still you have a speaker output for the device. And the rest is very similar in terms of headphone jacks. It's using, I shouldn't say similar, it's using Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz, not the 5. And it is a Bluetooth 4.3 and not the Bluetooth 5.0. Software-wise, they're identical. So, and when we're talking about applications, so we talked about the key editor, key calc, the Victor reader, and so on. So the same application are designed and built into the Brailliant 20X. We're really talking here about someone who's looking for more portability or someone using it primarily with an iPhone on the go and don't have the space for a larger Braille display. The Mantis Q40, when we're looking at specs, very similar as well. So the hardware itself, as I mentioned, it is a full QWERTY keyboard built into the interface of the device, and it does have a 40-cell Braille display as well. So once again, keeping in mind that it's the footprint's a little bit bigger than the other 2 we mentioned. However, it is very light, very portable as well. And once again, will definitely answer the needs of people who prefer to have a QWERTY keyboard over a Braille key entry. It has a 16 gigabyte internal storage, so very similar to the BI20X. There's an headphone jack. There is no speaker on the Mantis, so it wasn't designed to have speakers. It really is. You need a headphone jack to connect or have auditory output. And same as a BI20X, got Wi-Fi 2.4, but all of the same application, Keysoft Lite, exam mode, customizable menu is designed and built into the Mantis Q40 as well. So we really have the choice of 3 different, very powerful Braille display here for, once again, making sure that we address the right need and the task of each user, whether it is for school purposes or whether it is for work-related or even just for their own daily activities. Either one of those 3 will definitely address these different needs and hopefully make them more proficient and proactive. So just before we go into Monarch, I just want to know if there's any questions, Steve. As I mentioned, I can't see the screen, so I don't know if anybody raised a question, but I can definitely open it up for couple of minutes here on the Braille display if there's any question on on these three different Braille display we just talked about.
Alrighty, I don't see any hands up, so I don't know if anybody's got questions, but if you do, feel free to unmute yourself and ask away.
Very quiet. So once again, it's either I've people got this or it was too much information. But that being said, if there is any question, guys, we'll be more than happy to answer any question at the end of the presentation. The other Braille display or multi-line dynamic tactile Braille display that I want to talk about is the Monarch. Most of you have probably heard of the name Monarch over the last year and a half, if not 2 years. We've been doing and being hard at work promoting this new unique solution into the marketplace, and we're really proud of what we were able to accomplish because it's a first in the industry, and really being able to bring a multi-line dynamic Braille display into what we call the 21st century Braille solution. Being able to bring something to not only the education market, but every market that will allow each user to get access to information in such a different ways than conventional ways, but and being able to have it in real time and instantly. So I'm just thinking about and I'm referring to and Rachel probably have some good example as well, but I remember the story Peter Tusick used to say is when he was in the classroom, especially when it came to do some stems or math homework, said I usually got B in math for Braille, B for Braille, because he was always 2-3 weeks behind. By the time he received the assignment, turned in the assignment, made the correction, returned the assignment to Peter, he says I was always 2-3 weeks behind everybody in the classroom. Once again, it's how he got access to the information. And we really think the Monarch really bridged that gap by being able to get not just access to information, but being able to see the information and then interact and do homeworks in real time and being at the same level and same pace as any of their sighted peers. Whether, as I said, I'm talking about classroom or education here, it's the same thing in the workplace as well. I'm just thinking here out loud of call centers that now will have access to more multi-line a multi-line display or multi-line information, being able to read the information, get access to the information while they're on a call with a client. So it really, in our book, opens up the door and a gateway to a lot more than just the education market, but really open up the door to the workplace, the workplace, market as well for people that probably had less of a chance of getting access to employment in some specific employment areas. And the Monarch really will, in our book, my book, will open up some of these doors for these different users. So when we're talking about multi-line tactile Braille display, what do I mean by that, or what does it mean? Is being able to have access to 10 line of Braille at 32 characters per line. So the students or users have access to more than one line of Braille at a time. So it's no longer just reading their information on being one long line, but really having access to multiple line that gives you also access to how our documents are formatted. So being able to see the format of the page, understanding the indentation, understanding where margin starts and ends, really once again elevates the learning process of people with vision impairments. Think of the Monarch, the 10 line of 32 characters, as about a little less than half a page of a Braille page that's been embossed. So when you're embossing a Braille page, you're basically creating all the format and making sure that you have access to the right format. And the Monarch really recreates this experience and allowing the users to get more than just one big line of information. Tactile array as well allow for displaying of tactile images, where we're talking about graphs, maps, especially once again in education here, if we're looking at math or any documentation relating to STEM programs, getting access to instant tactile images, and not just instant tactile images, but link to the book itself. The first picture I was showing, there was a lady, a girl standing aside a stack of book for algebra. And of course, she's holding the Monarch in her hand. And basically, the stack is just about the same height as her. The idea is just to show that instead of having to carry all those books and finding out which book goes to which graphic books for the lesson today, all of it can be stored into one devices. And we're just talking about one subject here was algebra. Think of all the other subject that you can store into one device, giving you access to the flexibility to not only get the right book, but also get the graphic that goes along with the right book. The touch sensors. So we've designed the Monarch once again very similar. You've got a Braille keyboard that sits below the 10 line of Braille display, and there's different keys as well. There's front keys or thumb keys in the front, allowing you to navigate the device very similarly as a regular, I would say, a regular menu on a computer. So it's a pull down menu. And then you just navigate the menu, opening up the application that you're looking for. Once again, here, keep in mind when we talked about Keysoft Light on the Braille displays, the Monarch was designed very similarly as well with first letter navigation, allowing you to not only go directly to a document and opening it up just a keystroke, but allowing you as well to search through the different menus with the first letter, making it so much more efficient. So there's a touch sensor that's built in, allowing you to navigate using very similar gesture as accessible tablet. There is also an instructor that can quickly send images to the device from a smartphone with an application called Wing It. And if we have time, we'll definitely give you a quick demonstration here. It's a very neat application that was designed specifically for the Monarch and multi-line Braille displays. Allowing interaction between iOS. Right now, it's only on the iOS, but allowing you interaction between an iOS device, let's say with a teacher, for example, and being able to get instant graphic onto the Monarch in real time. Of course, it is fully compatible with JAWS and NVDA, so we can use it as a Braille terminal. Keeping in mind, I usually talk about the Monarch, and for people to really understand the full capability, capability of the device. I always said, try to imagine a Braille Note Touch on steroid. What I mean by that is, of course, it has most, if not all, of the application of the Braille Note Touch. However, I don't necessarily want to compare this as a note taker because it has and offers a lot more than the note takers or the Braille Note Touch, specifically Braille Note Touch note taker that we manufacture at Humanware. But it does have very similar application. It is using, as I mentioned, the same Keysoft software, making it so much easier to use. But it does elevate and take the note taker, conventional note taker that we know today to a totally different level because of the multi-line tactile Braille display. So I talked about also being able to bring information quickly to each user. So it helps decreasing the time to fingertips. So what do we mean by that is being able to have access to the textbooks and all of the class material. Once again, picture the Brailleist. You have a Brailleist and that's creating the document for their blind students in the classroom. Think of a teacher saying, okay, tomorrow morning, I'm giving a test, a math test, for example, to the rest of the class. She has the file, she sends the file to the Brailleist, and the Brailleist would Braille the file, and then, of course, work with the TVI with the students, sometimes in the classroom, sometimes remote. Think of now with a device like the Monarch in the classroom, the students can receive the same file from the Brailleist in real time, be able to use the different application, the keyboard, and of course the Braille display to do the exam or the test in the classroom at the same time as their peer and turning it in at the same time in real time to the teacher. There's no more gateways of waiting to receive the document, sending it to translation, waiting for the document back, making the correction, and then sending it back to the teacher. They're actually able to receive the document, do the test. So we're talking about consuming the information they receive, creating their answer if it's a test, and then submitting it to the teacher directly without having to go to a Brailleist for translation, because of course it does have a back translator built in. For the user, it is straightforward. Braille in, Braille out, 10 line of Braille. For me as a sighted peer, I sent a document to my Monarch user. He creates a document or he makes some correction on an existing document, returns it to me via the email application. For me, when I open it up, it's going to be a Word documentation, or depending how it's being saved, it could be a PDF as well. So this is how I meant by we're decreasing the time to fingertips and how we're improving the proficiency of being able to stay in real time with their sighted peer. We talked about a little bit about the STEM, so the accurate spatial representation, being able to have access to the graphics built into each book. As a sighted person, if the teacher says let's turn to page 25, and then we're getting or reading the information, let's say, once again, I'm using math because math's always been a big challenge in the classroom for a blind user. So we're in page 25. We're reading the different example. There is a graph or a chart next to the information we're reading. As a sighted peer, I'm seeing the page. I'm reading the page, which is great. As a blind user, the conventional way would be to have either the book or have actually two books, because I need the graphic in a separate book as the text. Now think of having all of them included into one device. So I'm reading the information. Teacher says, let's turn to page 25. I can simply hit go to page 25. It opens up that page right away. I'm reading the information. It tells me there is a graphic link to that let's say that lesson. I simply double click on that link and it opens up the graphic right onto the Braille display. And I simply just have to escape out of this to get back into my book and so on. Using the example of math here, could be any reading book that has a picture in it. Once again, that will allow the Monarch will allow them to link the two and actually be able to see, reading the information and seeing the graphic or feeling the graphic as well. So it does improve the standardized test experience, because they'll be able to do it all on one device. And of course, providing instant access to tactile graphic, as I mentioned. There's already multiple tactile graphic available. There's some built into the device. The device gives you access to the APH tactile library as well, where there's thousands of different imagery that they can simply download into the Monarch and then be able to interact with. I mentioned earlier on that there is a standard called EBRF. So what does EBRF means? It's electronic Braille files. It's really the new standard. It will allow students.
Hey, give me a sec here. Let me just get out of this presentation.
No worries. The EBRF was designed in partnership with Daisy and over 30 other organizations around the world. NFB in the States as well, CNIB, RNIB. There were a lot of different partners behind this new standard. So it's not just creating a standard for the Monarch, it's creating a standard for any Braille display that's out there. And of course, if you have a multi-line Braille display, such as a Monarch, it really brings the power behind being able to connect the text with the imagery, but also being able to have access to a full formatted text instead of just one big line, as most conventional Braille displays, single line Braille displays are designed. We mentioned earlier on that it really does improve the time to fingertips. And as I mentioned as well, it will benefit any Braille tools and including embossers. So Braille displays, note takers, and then of course embossers as well. So what does it look like? This new standard, and when we're saying this new standard, it's actually, it is being worked on. It's in the final stage, so it will be introduced worldwide once it's ready. So there will be a converting tool allowing any material centers to basically convert their existing BRF Braille files into an electronic BRF. So it's similar to EPUB file format with spatial formatting and navigation that is built into the device. It does allow, sorry, graphics to be embedded with the same file. It's what we mentioned a little bit about, and open up in different tactile viewing system. Some of for those of you who were there last Friday during Willow Free's presentation, one of the stat that he mentioned, and I was really impressed when I heard that, is that with this new standard, and of course using a multi-line Braille display, they already know, because they've had over 1,000 units of Monarch in the field in the state. So they've done a lot of data crunching here to get some information as to how does the Monarch really impact the learning, the learning process, learning skill. So 54% more students interested in the STEM field, which once again it's a huge improvement in terms of what some of these students could actually think of doing in the future as a future job, and 30% reduction in terms of producing material. We talked about being able to produce the information and sending it in real time, and this is once again, so this is what we've seen over the last year of having all of these Monarch devices in the field in the United States. And of course, the EBRF standard is all part of this, and really will make a huge difference in being able to improve those statistics as well, and being able to support a device like the Monarch and single line Braille display. So we talk about greater investment in the value of learning. So it's the value of the value added of using multi-line Braille display to get access to different applications such as Braille and audiobooks for textbooks, whether it's textbooks for leisure or just the textbooks for the work or even your education level, multi-line word processor as well, tactile imagery. So you've got access, as I mentioned, to the APH tactile library that allows you to get access to a lot more information, but also being able to get textbooks, imagery or tactile imagery that comes with each textbooks once these textbooks are converted into the EBRF standard and format. So you do have Braille editor, tactile monitor. I mean, this is, for us, it's only the beginning. We're really just scratching the tip of the iceberg here, because we're going to be adding more to the device. I mentioned earlier on, there's a couple of versions that came out since we released the device. One major one was to add a Braille terminal, so it is compatible, as I mentioned earlier on, with JAWS and NVDA. It will also allow you to have a split screen. So if you're using it as a Braille terminal, you'll be able to use 5-line of display, let's say connected to JAWS and your operating system, your computer, your iPhone, and so on. And you'll be able to also add the other 5, being able to use the Monarch as a standalone. So once again, allowing you to get access to more information and be able simply to be more proactive in the different tasks that you're setting out yourself to do. Simplifying the teaching and learning experience. So book with the same page numbering at the same time. As I mentioned earlier on, the example I gave, let's turn to page 25. I simply hit go to page 25 and it opens up to page 25, and being able to have easy access to the different instructional materials. Sorry, I'm fumbling that word here. Once again, getting access to all of the core curriculum that sighted students have access in the classroom today. The Monarch will allow blind users to get access to the exact same type of information in real time. Now I'm going to turn this turn it into to Rachel to give you a quick demonstration. What we want to do is we'll do a demonstration of the Brailliant. So really looking at assigning shortcut keys command, just to give you an overview as to what we can do with the Brailliant as a standalone. Getting into the Bookshare audiobooks, switching between the DAISY and audio supported books that we have. If we have different formatted books loaded into the Victor Reader application of the Brailliant, and some of the reference tool. On the Monarch, I've listed a lot of them, depending on time. We definitely want to show the Wing It application, the touch mode. There's a new one-ended mode as well, allowing you to, for one-ended users, to still be able to use the device. There's different voices as well that can be selected. Not necessarily getting too much detail, but of course, you've got a full customizable menu with the Monarch that can be turned into a full productive unit for each users. So Rachel, I will turn it to you. Let me just, I think I need to basically stop sharing here. One of the things while I'm doing this, one of the things I do want to mention is don't forget about our loan program. What I mean by this is we talked about different Braille displays here. And if there's any one of them that you or one of your students or users wants to trial, we do have a loan program that allows you to get a unit from Humanware. There is no cost to receive it, no cost for shipping and returning it, to receive the device for a 2-week period and really being able to trial it out in your own environment, whether it's related to work or school, and before making a decision about which devices best suits your need, and of course, a purchasing decision as well. So on to you, Rachel.
Thanks, Michelle. That was really comprehensive, and I think really kind of goes in depth about the Braille displays we offer and what they can do for you or your students. So we'll jump into the Brailliant here. You can see it here. It's on the desk. And Michelle mentioned the thumb key, so I'm going to try and lift this up.
Volume 15.
See, on the front here, you've got 4 thumb keys, and that is for navigating the device. So this is how we...
Sorry if I can just
Yeah, go
interrupt.
ahead.
Michelle, I'm still seeing you.
Volume
Yeah, I gotta
16.
stop sharing first. There you go.
There we go.
Okay, good. Cool. We just showed thumb keys. We didn't get too far. So we'll lift this up again. So these are thumb keys, and they are the keys that you're going to use to kind of scroll around, moving by items, and going back to the main menu if needed. So we talk about efficiency. Michelle mentioned it. Keysoft Lite is that Braille first way to navigate through a computing environment. And it's been around for a long time, and we just keep improving upon it and updating our products. Brailliant has Keysoft Lite, and some of the things that we can do, and if you can see here, or I'll describe it, there are command keys on either side of the display. And we're going to run through real quickly how to assign those keys to perform Braille shortcuts. So we mentioned Keysoft Lite. It's a Braille first way to access certain items. So for instance, if I want to check the battery, I can press enter with the letter P for power. But if I want an even quicker way, I can set one of these command keys, and these are round keys on either side of the device. They kind of look like a Braille cell that's been split up. You have little circular buttons 1, 2, 3 on the left-hand side going down, and then on the right-hand side vertically you have 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to jump in here real quick. I'm going to go into the options menu.
User settings.
You see here we have user settings. I'm going to press enter.
Airplane mode off.
And these are some of the options here. You can first letter navigate, so you can press C for command keys. There are a lot of options beginning with C, so I'm going to do even more of a bit of a shortcut.
Thumb keys configuration.
Press T for thumb key configuration. Then I'm going to use one of those handy dandy thumb keys.
Command keys configuration.
And go down to command keys configuration. This is what I want, so I'm going to press enter.
Command key 1, default.
It says command key 1, so that's the one on the top left on the side of the Braille display. That's key 1. That is just set to default, meaning it does whatever the default behavior is. If I scroll down with my thumb key.
Command key 2, default. Command key 3, default.
And this goes through all 6. So command key 2 is default, command key 3 is default, and that's just its default behavior. For instance, command key 2 and 5 will pan your Braille display line by line, or Braille display length by Braille display length. So 40 characters at a time. I want to set command key 3 to have it check my battery. So then I won't need to remember enter P. I can simply press the key. So I'm going to press a cursor router key to go in here.
Enter Braille command.
Now enter Braille command. These only work with Braille command. So enter with P for power, enter with T for time, enter with D for date, things like that. So I'm just going to do enter with P.
Command key 3. Enter dots 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, that's the Braille key. Enter dots 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to press S for save.
Save configuration.
Enter.
Command keys configuration.
Great. Now I'll go to the home, the main menu.
Thumb keys terminal.
We're back on the main menu. Now, if I'm just using my Brailliant, it's been a long day, I want to quickly check my battery, I'm going to press Command key 3. That's the one I assigned, and that is on the bottom left of your Braille display.
Battery 91%.
Perfect. So much easier to press a button to get instant access to information. You don't have to remember the shortcut. You just have to remember the shortcut when you want to set that up. Now, to quickly revert back to default behavior.
User settings. Airplane mode. Thumb keys command key
Back to
configuration.
Command
key 1. Default.
It puts me on command 1. I'm going to go down to command key 3.
Command key. Enter Braille command.
Now, it says command key 3, and then it says what it's assigned to. I pressed a cursor router key. It says enter Braille command. If I simply press command key 3.
Command key 3. Default.
This is back now to the default behavior. So I'm going to press S to save it.
Save configuration.
Enter.
Command keys configuration.
So that's pretty simple. That's how you assigned command keys to various shortcuts. We do have snapshot videos on our website of that process. If you want to go and assign those on your Brailliant BI 40X, it's only on the Brailliant BI 40X because this is the only device that has command keys. Mantis is a QWERTY keyboard style, and then the Brailliant 20X is a little too small to have these extra keys. So that's why this option is only available here. Really quickly, I want to jump into
Terminal.
the Victor Reader.
Victor Reader.
I'm going to show you how now, if you download a book from Bookshare that has both DAISY text and DAISY audio, that's different from audiobooks.
The Da Vinci Code. Downloaded.
And, excuse me, audio books from Bookshare are a relatively new available option. So I landed on the Da Vinci Code, which is audio. So we'll start there instead. So this is an audio book with a human narrator. It's not a DAISY text or text to speech. It is human narrated. So you can search for books, you can download them, and if you check the book format, it'll tell you whether it's audio. Just keep in mind those can take a little longer because audiobooks are quite a bit larger than DAISY text. So I'm going to press enter on this book that's downloaded. See, it's playing music here.
The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown.
Okay.
The Da Vinci Code.
Press space with G to pause that speech. So that is an audiobook from Bookshare. Brailliant now supports that. Now to go back to the DAISY and audio textbooks.
The Da Vinci Code.
I've pressed
downloaded.
Space with E to get back to my book list. And I'm going to go to the book called Snow Crash.
San Francisco Snow Crash.
I had a lot of San Francisco newspapers in there. I was navigating through them. Now, Snow Crash, that is a book that has DAISY text and DAISY audio. I'm going to press enter. Okay. Now, if I hit space with G for go or kind of play pause here.
Notice. This accessible media has been made available to people with bona fide.
Okay. I've paused that. And that is just the text to speech because the Brailliant supports that. Now, if I press space with dots 2, 3, 5, and 6, I dropped G in Braille.
Recorded audio.
Now it switches
Snow
to
Crash.
recorded audio. I'm going to press space G.
Notice. This accessible media has been made available to people with
Snow Crash.
And that is obviously a different synthesizer. So that's how you can quickly switch between DAISY text and DAISY audio books and assign shortcuts with command keys. We are somewhat limited on time here. So what I will do so we can get to probably just wing it on the Monarch for today is I'll just show you where you can find these reference tools. So I'm going to go to my main menu by pressing home.
Terminal.
And this is available in the editor keypad, as Michel mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. That is where you can create text files and read other document formats, and in the Victor Reader. So I'm going to go into my editor really quickly, and I've done that by pressing backspace and the letter N to create a new note. And if I type the word Braille, B-R-L,
Braille.
okay, I press the space bar, it said the word. Now I'm going to press my cursor router key on that word so it focuses on it.
Braille.
Okay, it said Braille again because I pressed the cursor router key. Now, to show you where these reference tools are located, I'm going to go into the context menu, and that's space with M. That's also available on our Braille Note product as well, and BI20X. So if you have used those products or worked with them with your student, you may recognize that command.
File menu.
And I'm going to go down to Edit.
Edit menu.
By pressing space and .4. You can also press the space bar if that's easier. Edit menu, I'm going to press Enter.
Find,
Okay.
space plus F.
And that's the first command. I'm going to press S.
Search on Wikipedia, Enter plus W.
Okay, so this option is search on Wikipedia. So because Braille is in focus, if I pulled up Wikipedia, it would search for the Braille. It would tell me all about Lewis Braille and the Braille Unicode characters and anything that's available on Wikipedia regarding Braille. I'm going to press my thumb key to go down.
Search on Wiktionary, Enter plus dots 256.
Search on Wiktionary. That is available on our Victor stream. If that sounds familiar to you, that is a online kind of dictionary option that will give you some items. And then the last option, if I press my thumb key.
Search in WordNet, space plus D.
Okay, search in WordNet. That is an offline dictionary. That is available on your Brailliant, does not require an internet connection as Wikipedia and Wiktionary do. Space D is the shortcut. So whatever word I have in focus, I can press that or always come into my menu and
WordNet, Braille.
Okay, Braille is in the search box. I'll press enter. And it says overview of the noun Braille. Okay, if I press enter.
The noun Braille has two senses. No senses from. Tag text. 1. Braille, Louis Braille, French educator.
Okay, so it tells me that the first option is Louis Braille. I'll just show you the second option.
3. And who invented a system of 1809 to 2. Braille, a point system of writing in which
And if I press my inner right thumb key to pan.
patterns of raised dots represent letters and numerals.
Okay, so that is the local dictionary. Again, Wikipedia and Wiktionary work very similarly. They'll number the results that it finds. And let's say if it finds 50 results, you can press enter on the one you want, result 1 or result 2. And in Wikipedia's case, it will load the article. So very, very cool if you are doing any type of research and want built-in tools for that.
Terminal.
Any questions about Brailliant before we quickly switch gears and see if we can have the Wing It available for Monarch? And Steve, I might ask if you can allow me to be co-host here. I've joined on my phone.
Okie dokie.
Thank you.
Where have you gone here?
Awesome.
I've changed you to host.
Oh boy, such power. All right, thank you. Let's see if we can get this going. Oh, it says only the host can share. Can you try the second instance?
Well, you're the host now, so I think you need to try the second instance.
All right, let's see if I can do that.
Let me see here.
Okay. Well, if we can't do this, Michelle, do you happen to have Wing It on your phone? We're going to do this a little bit old school, and I might have you hold your phone up to the camera.
I do.
All right.
Try if I can. How am I going to do this? So you want me to show the Wing It app on my camera?
Yes, please. That'd be awesome.
Okay. see if that works. Walk. Video. I do not. Okay. Okay, I'm kind of, yeah, okay. Not sure if
Perfect.
that's going to be a good representation, but let's try it this way.
So what this is while we're kind of getting set up here is Wing It is an app that allows, and this is fully voiceover accessible as well, which is fantastic.
Hey, Rachel, you're going to have to
yeah.
stop sharing so that we can see Michelle.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. This is cool. 1 second here. Okay. How about that? Are we good there?
Michelle, I think you need to, there you go.
Yep. There we go. Yep.
Sweet. Okay. So Ant is an app that allows anybody, really, whether you're a voiceover user or a sighted person.
Sorry.
I need to share. Yeah. I'm just going to go
Michelle,
into
you gotta,
sharing.
yeah, you gotta share. Thank you.
Sorry, guys. Where is it?
Actually, if you just have your video on, Michelle, and you can point your phone at the or your camera at the phone. Yeah.
I do have the video on. I'm pointing the camera. Is just that if I talk, that's fine. If I don't, then you go into highlight. Just try to see if I can multiple sharing at the same time. Try to see if that's going to work. Does that work? No.
We're seeing your Zoom screen now, not the
Yeah,
not
that's
the
the
screen
thing.
with the...
And I'm trying to see. I gotta stop sharing. I'm not sure how to be able, if I'm able to share. And basically, what we want to show is really the application itself. It's really designed. It's easy to use. You can see the white section is where you would either use a stencil pen for your smartphone to draw on, or you can use your finger as well. I mean, you can write something down. You can just draw a circle, a car, a house. And once this is done, I mean, you can see at the top left corner, probably top right corner for you guys, there is a little butterfly there. Means that it is a compatible or connected with the Monarch, if you have a Monarch. And of course, you need to be connected once you get the connection established. So right now, if I hit the connection, I don't think I'll be able to connect to your Monarch, Rachel, here, but
no, it's all Bluetooth.
It's all Bluetooth, as you mentioned, exactly. So basically now, and I can use my finger, and I can just write my name, Michel, and whatever I write on this, of course, and now it's reversed the way because of the camera. But this will automatically connect to Rachel's or Monarch devices you want to connect to, and you can start sharing the different information. So you can interact that way. There's different application as well at the bottom of the Wing It app. Just gonna try to see here, and allowing you once again to create. You've got some editing tools, some creating tools, whether it's a paintbrush, changing the view as well, adding some shapes and so on. Allowing once again to be fully functional and being not functional, but being able to share the information in real time with the connected devices.
It's fantastic. A lot of people have enjoyed drawing their signatures. And as soon as you lift up your finger, because it's Bluetooth, so it's low energy connection, it immediately shows up on the Monarch in a raised line way. If Michel wanted to, he could draw something. He could add Braille labels, and he doesn't need to know Braille at all. It just shows up on the iOS keyboard, and he labels the drawing. It shows up in Braille for me, and it's a complete revolutionary way to have access to graphics in real time. I know some folks, they've enjoyed playing Pictionary with this device, or tic-tac-toe, or anything that you just, as long as you have an iOS device, iPhone, iPad, it works. And of course, a Monarch, and as mentioned, fully accessible. It uses direct touch with voiceover, so it just shows up. There's a canvas area, and you double tap, and it says begin drawing, and then you're able to draw. And as soon as you lift your finger, it shows up on Monarch. So apologies for the technical difficulties, but I think that's some of the biggest things that we have ever seen really with this multi-line display is the ability to draw graphics in real time and have them show up. And then, of course, support for JAWS and NVDA screen readers for Windows at this time. We're able to use the Monarch through USB as a Braille display. We can look at spreadsheets and tables and web pages and Word documents, and it's incredible. And there's only going to be more to come on that front. And Apple will offer support. We don't have a time as to when that will happen, but we are sure that support for Monarch will be coming for Apple devices as well. Awesome. Lots of other things, of course, about Monarch, but feel free to check our website if that's something that you're interested in. Then, of course, as Michel mentioned, the loan program. So talk to him if that's something. I've been assisting a number of clients who have been trialing Monarch, and feedback has been really positive.
Yeah, for the loan program, either myself or Steve, I can definitely get in touch with either one of us, and we'll let you know what's available and how quickly we can get a unit to you. And for the Wing It app, the one thing we didn't mention, this is as Rachel mentioned, it's an iOS type of application. It is a free download as well, so it's simply going to the App Store, downloading it. So if you are going to borrow a Monarch just to see, well, once again, the full potential of it, you can simply, if you have an iOS device, download it on it, and you'll be able to get the full power of the interaction between the two. We know we're about 6 minutes over here, guys. Thank you for sticking around. If some of you have questions, we'll definitely stay on as well a bit longer if Steve allows us, because it's his session. But we'll stay on a little bit longer if you guys have questions. But I definitely want to thank each and every one of you for joining in today. And hopefully this was educational and you got some good information about the different Braille displays that Humanware manufactures.
And yeah, I'll let you stick around if you want to answer questions.
Thank you, Steve.
Which leads to the question, does anybody have any questions?
I was going through the chat, Rianne, earlier on as well, did post something saying that she's had feedback that the Mantis was an excellent device for writing code. So
yes.
thanks, Rianne, for sharing this. No question from Rahat. And guys, by all means, if there's anything else, any other questions that comes out after comes to you after, feel free to reach out to Steve and Ryan. They'll be able to answer. And once again, you can also Humanware. We're here to support Steve and all the effort that he does in terms of promoting Humanware products into this territory. And once again, if you want to borrow a device, let us know. We'll be more than happy. And it's not just borrowing a device. We definitely, Rachel as well, is part of she's part of the loan program. She won't come to you, but we can set up some session to get the most out of it when you receive the device, some of the things you want to work with, so we can really give you guidelines as to what to experience with each of these devices.
Looks like we have a raised hand.
Yeah, oh, do we?
Yeah, Lisa?
Hi, thank you. So full disclosure, coming to you from a very privileged place in terms of I can see, and I am very new to all of this. In my role to support students, we have come across a couple of folks who have some visual impairments, but they're connected to our language class. So this would be our Indigenous languages of the Nklakatmith and Silk peoples. And I'm just wondering how we might help navigate students when it comes to any language fluency. What will that look like? Am I at step 10 and I should be at step 1? And any thoughts, ideas, insight to how we can support students would be greatly appreciated.
So is this learning the Braille in their language, Lisa? Is that kind of where we're coming from? Because Monarch does have extensive language support. So if you're learning Braille, if you know,
So it
you
would
need it.
be, it would be the dilemma is that we aren't at the place of the technology to be able to go from what the faculty is teaching, because it's very verbal, hands-on. It's not, we have our first voices, but how would that translate to a device? So that way the student can participate.
Sure. So I guess my first question would be, is the student fluent in Braille?
Well, I'm not certain.
Or are they new? Okay.
Honestly, what ended up happening is the student withdrew. Just due to other stuff in general. So I didn't really get all the details surrounding her
Kind of the
disability.
situation.
And yeah, and that and it just made me, which is why I connected with today's presentation, was this is just a great opportunity to be able to poke at a few folks who might have some experience in this, of like, what are some options that we could present to students if we should face this again, or even following up with the student to say that, hey, we have some solutions.
So if they're maybe early childhood, or they're just learning Braille, which is kind of where Michelle and I and Steve are all coming from, we do have devices that are really good for early Braille learning. Once a student, learns Braille and has those foundational concepts, much like a child who is learning to read, then maybe you would think about putting them on the device, like a Brailliant, so they can continue to learn their Braille and then transition to a device like Monarch. So I guess I would start out and find out, where's the student in their Braille learning journey first, because reading and language is obviously very closely related. Then you pick the right device. We have Annie, and Michelle, you can talk a little bit more about that since we don't sell it here in the US. But there's Annie, which is a Braille learning tool, and then that can kind of feed into, a more advanced device.
Okay. I see another hand up. Somebody has something else to add.
Yeah, and Lisa, I don't know if you have our toll-free number, but feel free to reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to discuss options with you and just see if there's something that might fit the bill for what you're trying to do.
Yeah, perfect.
Wonderful. If you wouldn't mind, I don't have that information. If you could put it in the chat, that would be great.
Yeah, we'll do.
Thank you.
And we have Diana who raised her hand. Diana, if you want to, you're unmuted, so go ahead with your question.
Sure. One of the ways, if the issues with Lisa's students withdrawing, and I'm not saying it is, but when one of the things that when students join, if their issue is that they can't access the material that you're providing in print, these devices would be ideal, because that bridges the gap between what the print students are getting and could be or can be available to the Braille user. And that's why they're so amazing. That isn't my question. I was, but
thank you anyway.
Thank you. Yeah,
makes us feel good.
Well, my background is as a teacher. I'm a Braille user and a teacher. So I grew up when I had very few books, then had lots, then I won't go into it, but then I experienced teaching kids, where the lag, as you said, Michelle, between teacher and student, sometimes you don't get the material on time, no matter how well-intentioned the transcribers are. And that's often why people do quit, because they don't have either the advocacy skills or the knowledge to know how they could get access. But my question is, I am a JAWS user, and I use right now, if I was younger, I'd buy a Monarch today, but I'm not. And so I'm not teaching, I'm retired now. But I do use a Braille display all the time, and I'm very interested in how the Monarch works with JAWS. I was kind of hoping you might have shown that today. I get why you didn't, but because I'm very excited about that interaction, because I have moved from someone who started with a note taker many years ago to somebody who wants Braille support for what I'm doing on the computer. And that's just my journey through life and teaching. And I wanted all my students to have very strong computer skills because that's going to get them into the workplace after. But I'm more interested in how JAWS works. For example, can you do cursor routing on the Monarch? That sort of thing. How accessible is it right now?
Yes, I love these questions. So, Dan, first, I will say that, I mean, I'll answer your questions, but we didn't have time to get into it today, but a little sneak peek, October 22nd, we, myself, along with some folks from the American Printing House and Vespero, will be doing a webinar on Monarch and JAWS.
I'm signed up.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, yay. All right. So, all right, sneak peek then. So how you cursor route is, yes, it does work. You simply put your finger on the surface of the Monarch, on the letter or the space where you want the cursor to be, and then you press the action button, which is a little button in between keys 1 and 4, and it just puts your cursor right there. So it's very, very simple to do. It renders spreadsheets in tabular forms. So if I had like a row of 12 months going down the left side of my display, I would see that. And then if I had maybe some temperatures for each of those 12 months, maybe a high temperature and a low temperature, if you can picture that in columns, I can view all that as columns on Monarch. And when I pan, it just moves the table to the right. So then I'm able to keep seeing that data in a kind of vertical and horizontal way.
And you can edit within that, right?
Yes.
If the spreadsheet allows it, you can edit.
Yes, absolutely. You just, in the same way you route your cursor, you'd point your finger to the cell that you want to edit, and you just single press the action button, and it puts your cursor right in the cell.
And are you I'll stop asking questions soon, but
no, go ahead.
No, you're good.
Are you restricted to computer Braille or contracted Braille, or do you have a choice like on some of the other displays?
You do, absolutely. It works just like a Braille display in any other capacity, where you can set the tables that you want, but be they, UEB or grade 1 or grade 2, you can set all of that. So completely up to you.
And you can move through your document without using the Braille keyboard completely, or do you have to have a QWERTY keyboard? Like right now, I've stopped using a QWERTY keyboard, and I'm a good typist because I can do all the Braille commands from a Braille keyboard.
Right. So that there are some commands that work, and some commands we're still kind of putting them in. But yes, you can pan through your document. You can go by lines and words and characters and paragraphs and all those things. And
I want to highlight, I want to do the Windows commands, like the Alt and Control F4s, all of those commands. And I'm good if they're not there now. But is the idea for them to be added eventually?
Yes, that is my understanding. So I was actually looking those up this morning. Some of them work and some of them I don't think are fully integrated yet. So, but I'm in touch with our product manager, and we're in touch with Vespero, and we will be adding those modifier keys so you can have that full functionality.
Perfect. Thank
and
you.
there will be full documentation as well as to what's available with the JAWS compatibility, Diane, on our website. And we have a tab called support. So you go to support, then Monarch, and we will be adding more as we go forward. But as Rachel mentioned, we try to have as much of the current shortcut keys that you have with JAWS with a Braille display added onto the Monarch, and if it's not there, then we're basically working, and it's in the process of being released.
Well, that's fair. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
And
you're welcome.
Diana, you prefaced that early on with by saying, "At my age, if you buy a Monarch, I promise I'll forget your birthday from now on, so you don't get any."
He won't send you a birthday card, so buy a Monarch.
No, I'm not against it. It's just, and it has to be the expense it is. But if I was teaching, I would have had it already. It is all I meant. Not that I don't think it's a good device. I'm just not sure personally whether I can justify having it now.
We need to bring you on the road with us so you can.
I think
you can-
Diana
you
needs
can
a
share
loan
that.
unit. Oh my goodness.
But yeah,
used to
Diane. I
do-
mean, Diane. Even though as you mentioned, even though you might not be necessarily purchasing personally, if you want to try one out, just so you know what it's all about. I mean, we'll be more than happy to work with you on that as well.
I had a brief demo. Steve had one in his store. It didn't at the time have a lot of things that I was able to play with, but that's not his fault. I was there one day and I wanted to see it, and he was good enough to bring it in. So it's in no way any problem with that. It's just that, yeah.
And the Braille terminal was just added recently as well. So if that's what you wanted to see is how it worked with JAWS and NVDA, that was just added recently. So, but that was a major update for us that we did.
Yeah, I'm following the Monarch, not the Monarch list, but the multi-line display list.
Yep.
And I'm seeing stuff up there.
Good. Thank you very much for being here too, Diana. I really
Yes.
appreciate this.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? I know some folks are headed out due to other meetings and obligations, but so are any final questions?
Well, I think that's it.
All righty.
Well, then, thank you, Steve. Thanks, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rachel. Thank you, Steve. And thank you, everyone that's still here for the extended time you gave us.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll look forward to working with you again and on some other webinars, other product as well in the future.
Alrighty, I'm going to call her quits here, folks. Thanks again, and we shall talk to you all later.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. Visit us online at www.canastech.com or email us at sales@canastech.com. And if you're in the Vancouver area, you can visit our Assistive Technology showroom at number 106, 828 West 8th Avenue in Vancouver.